Price, the driver of the Durham Muay Thai and Kickboxing Superstock at Peterborough Speedway, and you're watching ONTrack Weekly. Everybody, and welcome in. ONTrack Weekly live here on GeForce TV. Once again, we are set under a month to go until the start of the racing season. Testing is going to start within this next week or so, though. So cars are going to get on the track for the 2024 season. Thank you to Donovan Price, our intro driver for this week. Had to rep the man himself here on the show. Donovan Price, good buddy, Superstock racer out of Peterborough Speedway. Hopefully we'll see him a couple times throughout the other facilities this year. Perhaps maybe we'll see him at Sunset Speedway for a spell. Maybe we'll go for the Flying Frank. But it'll be a busy show tonight. We have interviews that have been conducted. So we've got some of the racing stars of this season. We're going to talk with several racers from across the province in different divisions, different tracks. Start off with Ben McPherson, driver of the number 46 bone stock for McPherson Motorsports out at Sunset Speedway. He's up a little bit of a video glitch with that one. The recording did not work out as I was hoping. It uses the single person view instead of side-by-side box, so just bear in mind it will switch quite a bit. But Ben did a great job, and I got to learn a lot about the kid, and he's 16 years old, racing in the very competitive bone stock division out at Sunset Speedway. He's going to go to do the same this year. We'll talk a little bit more about his plans, how last year went, a little bit about the cars, what it's like to be out on the racetrack, who he thinks he's going to have to beat out there. And kid did a great job. So Ben McPherson will be up, and then we'll have Austin Arnell. We'll talk about the Great Lakes Legend Series. And we'll talk with Austin about the move from the Ontario Legends to the Great Lakes Legends this season. Do some of those combo events. See what he's got on tap for this year. Ollie Ferguson will be by to join us and chat about the Ontario Sportsman Series as he returns for the 2024 season. A very strong season last year. And we'll learn a little bit more about what his plans are for this year and how he thinks things are going to go. He had a great season last year. And we'll have Mason Culver from Varney Speedway come and chat with us about his 2024 plans. Talk about what is on tap for him this season after a double championship win last year at Varney and at Grand Bend Speedway. But we'll get started with, and I see Rob Burr's comment about some dirt tracks coverage. Dirt track coverage is all Adam and Clinton's deal. They're the guys that know dirt racing a lot more than I do. Wouldn't be fair to go and start talking about dirt racing if I don't really know what I'm talking about. So definitely check out Race Rivals Race Chat. They always have the scoop about dirt track racing in Ontario. Actually, all dirt track racing all over, but they also cover all sorts of motorsports. So this show is primarily based off of Ontario short track racing on the asphalt side. But thank you, Rob, for the comments. Kevin Trevelyan says, I know a little. Well, that's okay. Some of us know a little too. But Ben McPherson, driver the number 46, bone stock out at Sunset Speedway. He has his interview with me coming up right now. enjoy. Kid's got a lot of good stuff, a lot of good talking points here, and so let's bring on Ben McPherson from Sunset Speedway. All right, back here on ONTrack Weekly, and we're here with one of the stars of the bone stock division out at Sunset Speedway. Ben McPherson is here. Ben, how are you, my man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, not a problem. First off, love the ride behind you. You got the old cold trickle look to it and everything.
Yeah.
How is the car looking for? Is this the car you're going to use this year?
Yep. This is my main car. In the back there, we have our spare.
Uh-huh.
And currently, I have my phone resting on the future project.
The future project. Yeah, big news for you this year that you guys have acquired a hot rod as well.
Yep.
What are the plans this year, my man?
So, our plans are to run full season for bone stocks and have our hot rod running by at least mid season.
And just a couple of races for the hot rod?
Possibly. We want to see what's going on. Probably not going to actually race it till after their point season is over because I don't want to cause any issues for any ledges that are racing there. I don't want to start 2025 season with any bad blood.
That's fair. Absolutely fair. So how did last year go for you in the bone stock division? It was I mean it's chaotic always in the bone stocks,
No
but
kidding.
how was the experience and the season can you are you okay with how it went?
I can't complain for my first rookie year. It went way better than we would have expected. Started off the season by just going in with a stock vehicle, no suspension systems, no nothing, no spring rubbers, anything. Throughout the season, we got a lot of help from other teams who've been doing this for more years. We had worked with Brandon Steele, Josh Berry, and his team. Everyone there was giving us points and tips and tricks on how to get the car set up, and it gave us a great year.
Well, and that's the thing, right? I mean, week to week at Sunset, you can have a good week or you're gonna have a bad week. It just depends,
Yeah,
right?
let's hope we don't have any bad weeks this summer.
Yeah, exactly.
I had
Exactly.
one and it was not fun.
Well, and I'm curious actually, how kind of you got to the bone stock division. Did you run junior lates before, or you just this was
Uh,
your first
no,
foray?
I didn't run junior late, but growing up, like when I was 11, I started racing go karts at Mossport Kartways in Peterborough, and from there, after COVID one came and gone, I went back when I was 14, so grade 9. That was my last season before we got the yellow and green Pontiac that's in the back. By then, I was already 6 foot and 200 pounds, so go karting was not a viable option anymore.
Yeah, yeah, probably not. So
Yeah.
why pick Sunset Speedway? Is it just the track closest to you?
Uh, the track closest, as well as Peterborough, we could have gone either or.
Yeah.
But growing up, I went every summer to the Sunset Speedway from the grandstands. Always loved seeing it. I've been going there for longer than I can remember, honestly. So
And
it has
now
that family attachment.
and now you're there. Like now
Yep,
you're racing on the track in front of
exactly.
everybody.
It couldn't even describe the feeling that I have every time I'm there.
Well, I would imagine just pure excitement. I mean, for us as
Yeah,
well as race fans, it's so cool
exactly.
seeing you guys getting out there because you're only 16, right?
Yeah, only 16. Don't even
Only
have my G2
16.
yet.
That's okay. I don't have my G2 either. But you're out there, you're doing a great job. And you got a great field of drivers out there.
Apparently,
Lots
we're
of
gonna have quite a big one this summer too.
yes, you do. You have a huge field of
Yeah,
racers out there. Who's going to be the toughest competition though in bone stocks?
that's really hard to say. Everyone from last year is coming out with all guns blazing. They're not holding back this summer. We've got a lot of veteran racers that are coming back. We've got a lot of rookies from last season moving forward. I think it's going to be an even field. It's going to be a tough one to even get top tens this summer.
Yeah, yeah, it will be, and I love it. I love seeing it. You're gonna run the 46 this year. Once again, you got the cold trickle look. What's the goal? You obviously want to have a good finish week in and
Yeah.
week out, but what's some goals that you've set out for yourself this year?
Goals for me this summer, I would like to get at least one or two podiums this summer, maybe even a win if that's possible. Um, Honestly, I'm just looking to race my race like I did last year. I'm still shaking down the car a little bit, still getting used to everything. Like this is only my second year racing an oval track, let alone a full size car. That's the first time I've ever driven a car was on that track.
And I'm curious, you going to take any trips this year? Going to go outside of just Sunset, or are you going to stick
Uh,
mostly home?
that's up for debate at the moment. We don't truly know. We want to wait till after point season so that way we're not messing up our car. Um, Possibly going to Autumn Colors this summer. It's exciting. I saw it last year in person for the first time, and it's definitely something that I'm looking into. Other than that, there are a few tracks I would like to visit. I would like to see Barney. I'd like to see Full Throttle. I'd like to see all of them. Uh, Delaware's a big one that I want to try, but we'll see what happens.
That's definitely part of it, right? It's a learning experience for you, and you can continue to learn and grow each and every year. You obviously have the skill going out there week in and week out, competing with a really tough field of bone stock racers, and they tend to get a little bit crazy and wild at
You
times.
can say
So,
that.
what's the biggest lesson that you had to learn last year?
Biggest lesson was to race smart. Like that was always the biggest thing for me was transferring from go-karts. I was always the heaviest kid, so you had to learn how to race smart and follow your lines. So definitely learning the lines was the biggest thing for me.
Well, and that's obviously with Sunset Speedway, you have a lot of options. Like you can run all over, right? And especially with the bone stock cars, right? Like they're a little bit
Yeah.
more, you know, you get a little more give in those. But um, obviously, you've got some really reputable people in that division to help you
Yeah.
along, and you've got a really big fan base as well out at Sunset Speedway.
Yeah,
And
it was definitely a great fan base for our first year.
exactly.
I hope to keep growing it.
And you guys have really kind of hit the ground running in terms of social media and
Yeah.
getting out there doing initiatives as well. You guys did a big initiative that my buddy, our co-host in the Circus and Stuffs podcast, Graydon Bunn, went out to go-karting for
Yeah, it was a lot
Blue
of fun
Bank.
having him there. Yeah.
Yeah. And
With
he
him.
loves it. He loves
Oh
it
yeah.
too, right? It it was a great experience, and you guys have already, continued to grow, and now you've got this hot rod. Is there a future in hot rodding potentially for Ben McPherson?
Uh that's to be determined. I want to get out there. I want to try it out, see what happens. In all reality, I would love to try any and all divisions. I want to get my foot in the door for all of them.
Definitely okay with that because you go out there. I'd love to see you out there with Amanda Balson and Stompin' Tom and
Yeah,
Tyler
that's gonna be a
Vaughn.
tough field to get used to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like the experience level going from
Yeah,
bone stocks all of a sudden to the hot rods
yeah,
out at Sunset.
big
What do you have to
change.
say? What do you have to say about Sunset, man? Because they seem to be all doing an amazing job about promoting you guys.
Uh, you've said it right there. They've done a really great job at promoting our division and all divisions at that. It's a great track, great community. Everyone there is willing to help another person, whether it's a fan or another driver. As much as we want to beat each other, we still want to see each other get out for the feature.
It's the truth, and we're so excited to see how you do this year, and it's really exciting so that you get to go out there and week in and week out put on a show for the fans. I want to give you the opportunity to thank the partners, thank the people that help you get out there because you've got a lot of them, and we definitely give we'll give you the opportunity to shout those people out right now, and thank those partners on your beautiful car that's right behind you.
Yeah, well, first off, I'd like to thank Pete from Peter Smith Construction for loaning his trailer for us to get to and from the track. That's huge for us not to have to go rent one or go buy one. Then we have Smart Tutoring. She's been helping us with social media. She's been putting our name out there for us. We have a few new sponsors, including Muskoka Sauces. They just joined on, and we're hoping to go for their grand opening first week of May. Well, we're not racing since they are doing it then. We will probably be there. So definitely go check them out, along with so many others that have truly stuck by us in this. Week in and week out, we've had our fair share of issues. Pine Hill gave us a parts car to work on our car, and that's the reason we got our car back out there after our wreck at our third race actually.
You can't do it without the right people And
Exactly.
you guys definitely have the right people. We're excited, man. I'm excited to see how you do this. You're 16 years old out there with Josh Berry. You guys are the young ones out there in the bone stock division. But thank you for taking some time chatting with us on OnTrack
Thank you for
Weekly.
having me. I
Not a
appreciate it.
problem. Not a problem. That's Ben McPherson. You catch him this season at Sunset Speedway. Man, this is why I love getting to do this show. Aside from the sunlight trying to come in and ruin my shot here, um, the honor of getting to talk with some of these young racers who maybe not have not done interviews before, and there's a good chunk of them that haven't, and we've been lucky. And I'm trying to block out the sun here, just all of a sudden comes showing up. There we go. I just have to stay like this the whole time, I guess. Um, but Ben did a great job. I was very impressed with his answers. And you know what? I got to see the kid for a couple races last year. Did a great job out there. It got a little crazy with the bone stock division out at Sunset Speedway last year. It is not an easy class to go in and compete against, but it is entry level. And I love seeing drivers come in and be able to talk about their experiences and get experience with an interview as well. It's not something that they all get the opportunity to do week in and week out. So being able to do that now in this capacity is such an honor, and I'm so glad. And a perfect example is some drivers that we've talked with in the past, and we were their first interviews, and to see them come back and do interviews with us again is great. And one of those names actually would be Austin Arnell, and he was on the podcast a couple months ago, actually, on our Stickers and Scuffs podcast, and was talking about his 2024 plans. We were able to do that again with him this time around, chat with him about what's going to happen with the Great Lakes Legends Tour this year, what the plans are, and how he thinks this season's going to go. I really enjoyed this one with Austin as well. It's always nice when we get to chat with people that we've seen a couple of different times at the racetrack and interviewed a couple of times. But big thanks again to Ben McPherson, McPherson Motorsports. Make sure you check them out on social media. Follow along with Ben's journey this season. 16 years old, and he's racing out in the bone stock division. A great job by Ben. But let's go and chat with our buddy Austin Arnell. He's going to be racing in the Great Lakes Legends Tour this season, and let's learn a little bit more about what's going to happen with Austin in 2024. Back here on OnTrack Weekly, Cam K here, and we're gonna go a little bit of legend racing right now. We're gonna talk with Austin Arnell of the Great Lakes Legend Series. He's gonna do a couple of combination events this year. But Austin, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you, Cam?
Oh, awesome. Anytime I get to talk racing with my buddies, I appreciate it, and it makes me happy. So, Austin, how about you, man? You're going into a new season of Legend Racing, and a little bit of a different plan for you this year. You're going to go run the Great Lakes Legends Tour this year.
Yeah, we're gonna run the Great Lakes full schedule, I think, and then I'm planning to go up and race at Sunset, maybe Peterborough once if the schedule allows it with the Ontario guys. And yeah, we have a lot of crossover races this year, so it should be fun. I'm looking forward to the 30 plus car counts at those events, and yeah, really looking forward to how much I'm just looking forward to all the effort we put into this year and wanting to get out on track. And I think May 11th is the first race for us.
Yep, and you guys are definitely on a bit of a swing, right? It's going to be a little bit different because Great Lakes Legends, while it is still a Legend series, it's a little bit newer of a Legend series. It isn't as well established or as well known as the Canadian Legends, now known rebranded again as the Ontario Legends. But let's talk a little bit about the Great Lakes Legends. You're going to be in there. They've got the Outhouses, who are a part of this series, formerly, and now you also have Jen Hatch, who's going to come in, and she's going to be the race director. That's got to be cool. You guys going to have some fresh faces up in charge, and be doing some really great stuff, especially Legend Racing out in a particular side of Ontario, and then you're going to do some combo events.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to all the great ideas Blake and Jen are having behind this Great Lakes Legends season that is coming up, and having the fresh face of Fresh Stone Brands, and just getting more recognition for the Great Lakes Legends series. And then it's going to be cool having Jen up in the tower. She's going to lay down the law. She won't take anything from anyone. So it's going to be an interesting year, and I'm looking forward to getting it started. Like, I'm just so excited, and I think we have a lot of new people interested into the sport after talking at the booth at Motorama, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this year's going to pan out for them.
Well, on the Legends, I mean, we had this conversation with I think actually at Motorama, where we were talking about people that had really not paid a ton of attention to the Legend cars over the last couple of years, but over the last, I think, year or so, it's really taken off, and we saw that in an amazing car count last year, right here on GeForce TV at Sauble Speedway, where you guys had to believe the count was 28 in the official count. I don't know if that was how many started. I think you may have done a little bit less than that for the start, but 28. I don't know the last time I had seen 28 Legends, and it took you guys a little bit longer to get going, but
Yeah.
For me, it was just the excitement, I guess, behind everything. But for you guys, that's probably a huge thrill.
Yeah, it was a big thrill. I think we had 30 plus for both days, and I think they had 26, 28, something like that started that feature, which everyone, we had so many different guys that haven't always raced together up at front, and it just made it interesting. And we were televised. We don't That was a big deal for us being on G-Force with the big late models and everything like that. So I think everyone was just a little antsy, but I'm hoping this year we kind of all can mind our P's and Q's when we get to display ourselves on the big crossover nights and have bigger and better shows for everyone.
But one of the things that you guys get to do this year is you get to go race down south, and not a lot of people are going to be able to do that. You're going to Flat Rock, Michigan. I believe it's going to start your season, or pretty close to it. Have you ever done that before?
Yeah, so last year we went to Flat Rock, and I don't believe it was our kickoff race, but it could have been as well. I don't
No,
know.
not last
I'm
year.
gonna take that back. It wasn't last year, but
Yeah.
this year it is our kickoff race, and it's a great facility. It's a very fast track, and yeah, I'm looking forward to heading down south again. It's actually not that far from where I live, being closer to a border city, but yeah, I'm looking forward to going down there, and it just shows a different crowd what us Canadian guys can do.
Absolutely. And it's a thrill like not a lot of racers get. We started talking about Connor James going to race at Bristol this week,
Yeah.
Trayton Lapsovich, Kyle Steckley racing down at Hickory. Not a lot of guys get the opportunity to race in the US, but you guys are going to get the opportunity to do it again this year. You've got a field of really competitive racers in the Great Lakes Legends Tour. Who are some people that you think you're going to have to watch out for this year because they are going to be a threat?
Oh, there's probably too many to name for you, but if Kenny
Just give
comes
me a
back, I
couple.
think his plans are still up in the air. Kenny's super fast, and then there's so many different guys that like to come over and race with us. So it's hard to say who's exactly going to be a Great Lakes guy or an Ontario guy, just with so many that jump back and forth. But if Matt Boyes comes over and Cole McFadden, and then you get the Latimer brothers and Jade Franklin, and there's so many guys that you can name that just have so much talent behind these cars, and they know what they're doing, and they're fast. They're the guys to beat week in and week out. And I'm hoping that I can maybe add my name to being one of those guys that is hard to beat and be a consistent top 5 runner. But we're gonna have to see how the year pans out. But yeah, I'd be here for hours naming everyone. Everyone's a contender, it seems like.
Definitely is. And that's what's great about the Legend Car series right now is that you really have two strong divisions in Ontario. There's no debating here. Racing is really expensive. And if people that maybe were running late models and super stocks, they go down a little bit and they see, hey, this series is a little bit cheaper, but it's not as uh I don't know, it's not an amateur hour. It
No.
is very hard racing. And you have, like you mentioned, guys like Jordan Latimer running a super stock a couple of years ago. Jade Franklin was part of the APC racing tour a couple of years ago. Kenny McNichol runs pretty much anything that has 4 wheels on it. So all of a sudden you've got these names running. Junior Farley has driven in the Great Lakes
Yes.
Legends series as well. So you've got guys that literally come down, but they're not coming in and they're winning every single
No.
race. That's the thing that we can say is that the Legend Car series, despite it being lower division, it is not easy to win in it, is it?
No, it's definitely, I learned that last year coming off a mini truck campaign where it seemed like I
Right.
won everything, and then hopping in a Legend. But no, they're crazy little cars to race, and everyone thinks they're basically go-karts. But you get these big names behind the wheels, and sometimes they take off in them, and sometimes like Junior, he was asking people for help, and it was just kind of cool to see a big late model guy with a big name like him, and he's going off to race super mods or whatever those
Yeah.
are. Those insane, but yeah, it was cool to get to hang around with a guy like him and shoot, bounce ideas back and forth off each other because he was as new as I was to the cars. And it's cool to see that you can have the big name guys come down and they don't dominate the way they do up in whatever series they are racing.
And I'm hoping that even leads to more. I mean, you have Robin Yongan now moving in charge of the Ontario Legend Series, which we raced in the last year. And you have obviously people that want to see this success here, and having a brand like Freshstone come in, and that Freshstone is involved with the NASCAR Canada Series,
Yes.
involved with Oshwegan Speedway, and they're coming in and they're supporting you guys as well. That's got to be something that I think most people would definitely not really think about. They wouldn't think, oh my gosh, like this is a company that's involved in high levels of motorsports, but they're coming to support us, and they're getting their name behind our racers. As a competitor in it, that's got to feel rewarding.
Yeah, it's really cool to see some recognition from a brand that has been in a couple different things and they want to put their name on our series. So it's always cool when no matter what kind of brand wants to do it, but when they've already done a couple other things or been a part of other things, it's just really cool to see a brand name behind our legend cars.
Now, what's the goal from day one,
Day
Austin?
one.
We know it's win races,
Yeah.
but is it you just want to beat McKenna out there? Is it you want to be able to finish top five every week, get a pole, get a couple of top fives, maybe a win if you can luck into it? What is the goal? Because like you said last year, it was your first year really getting into it. It was a tough year. Like we're not going
Oh
to go
yeah.
out and say you said you came from a championship and then you kind of learned really
Yeah.
quick. That's not as easy to do in this series. So what's the goal for this year?
Oh, I think the goal this year is just to be. I want to be Mr. Consistent type of deal. I want to always be towards the front. I might not be always the contending for the win, but to be contending for that top five, top three, just racing up front. That's kind of what I want to do. I want to show off for my sponsors this year and be up towards the front. That's kind of my goal. I would love to win a race. A couple more heat races would be cool, but I'm just going to start with being consistent.
That's key. And we also want to make sure that you get the opportunity to thank people because you're going to get an opportunity to run for a championship this year in the Great Lakes Legend Series. Run a couple of Ontario Legend Series races as well. Getting to run down in Flat Rock, getting to run a full tour. You wouldn't be able to do that without the supporters and the people that work on your race car. So this is your opportunity, just like we do on the Stickers and Scuffs podcast, to shout out those people right here on G-Force TV and give them the thanks that they deserve for letting you go racing.
So yeah, I'm got to thank PT Auto Cosmetics. They've been with me forever, and I've been doing my sponsor announcements. And got to thank Homes by Hodgins, Kramer's Concrete, Revell Insurance, Tia's Place, Southwest Marine, Telesign, Kenny McNichol at McNichol Welding and Fabricating for all the help he's given me this off season. Got to thank my dad because without him, this itch for racing wouldn't be here. And I got to thank you for having me on and just yeah, everyone that makes our motorsports world go around, I guess.
Well, he's just sucking up for the cameras. That's clearly what he's doing right now. But best of luck this season, Austin. We love watching you guys out there and repping us on the podcast, repping Ontario racers and ripping around in those legends. It's not the easiest thing to do. Competing against some of the best names that have been doing it for so long. But we wish you the best of success. I'm still not going to forgive you for changing the 29 font for this year, but it's okay. Well, we're looking forward to seeing the 29 out there this year and the brand new look for Austin Arnell. Best of luck this season, Austin.
Thank you, Cam.
Well, we're back. We've moved positions here so that you can see me this time around. Uh, what an interview with Austin Arnell. This is a kid that we started getting to know with the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. Met him actually for the first time out at Delaware and we were seeing the NASCAR Canada Series and met him and McKenna, and it was great. He has been affiliated with our podcast for a little bit, and Austin's he's getting a good experience being in the Legend Series. I think one of the things that ignorant race fan at the time, and I will admit it, I will say it right away, I didn't think much of the Legend cars a couple of years ago, and yes, their fields were smaller, but with the economic times that we're in right now, I think that this is a great opportunity for people to go out, support, and enjoy what the Legend cars offer, and they offer quite a bit, not just for those in one part of the province or not, but you can have the Great Lakes Legends. They run a lot of the races you'll see up at Sauble Speedway. Although I believe they do a Grand Bend as well. They go into Flat Rock, Michigan. You got the Ontario Legends, typically a lot of Peterborough and Sunset. So you've got a great amount of Legends car racing across the province, and then they come together, for combination events. I love the idea of doing those combination events. I know Oscar and Sunset are going to do that this year for their hot rod division. And the fact that they're going to do that and bring a field even closer together, even bigger than what we had previously is just, it's awesome to see. And we're going to move that transition from a touring division in the Great Lakes Legends Series to another touring division. This is one that's very near and dear to my heart because I am a part of this series. I am one of the people that works behind the scenes for the series, and I absolutely love it. It's got roots to CASCAR, the Ontario Sportsman Series. This kid, Ollie Ferguson, what a story. If you don't know his story, check out Ollie Strong Racing to learn a little bit more about it. He was on the tour last year, first year in the series, coming from junior late models, and moved up to the Ontario Sportsman Series, full-size stock cars, touring all across Ontario. And I'm really, really excited about this interview because he was one of those guys that maybe last year was, he's only 13 years old, so getting used to the interview thing. And this year, I don't even recognize his interview because he sounds so professional, so tailored to his interviews now. And I'm really excited to see what you guys think of Ollie. You did a great job in this interview. And let's hear from, I guess, a sophomore of sorts, running in the Ontario Sportsman Series in the number 55 Fusion Core Chevrolet. Yes, Ollie did immediately tell me right after our interview that he named off all of the partners that he forgot. He's got 14 or 15 of them. And so he tried his best to remember everybody, but he did immediately tell me right after all the names that he forgot. So just bear in mind that he does have a couple other partners out there, and definitely impressed with what he was able to put together. Let's hear from Ollie Ferguson. Hopefully I picked the right selection here. I can't remember which one I put it in. All right, back here on ONTrack Weekly. This is one that I'm really excited for because I think it's going to be a good year for this guy here. It's Ollie Ferguson from the Ontario Sportsman Series joining me on the show. Ollie, how are you doing, man?
Fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing well. I've got to know, man, how's the off season gone for you? I've done a lot of iRacing, getting ready to take it to everybody this year on OSS, right?
Yeah, it's been pretty busy, but it's been a good off season so far.
Well, obviously, let's talk about last year for you, but it was a big deal, man. You're switching from junior lates all the way up to OSS. Weren't at the first event, and due to illness, and then second race they throw you right into Varney, and you know what? It was a pretty good year for you. We didn't have any bit of contact as such. I just kind of hung around, and then all of a sudden you're shooting off top tens and then into the top 5 by the end of the season. So overall, I would assume you were really happy with how last year went.
It was beyond expectations for sure. To get lead lap finishes halfway through the season was our goal. So just super happy to be doing that. And then top 5s was like, holy cow, we're actually doing good this year. So hopefully it's going to be even more this year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the field is not as uh to be underestimated, I guess, is other places. I think people don't understand how tough the OSS field really is, going out there against guys like Corey McAllister, Chad McGlynn. Sean McGlynn was there for a bit as well. Kevin Trevlin, Brad Robinson, Michael Herniak Jr. Like, the field is pretty stacked. So heading into 24, man, how do you feel that you're going to be able to stack up against the rest of the competition?
Well, everyone is super close, and I love that about our series. It's always within a tenth of each other instead of like 5/10. It's right bumper to bumper nonstop, and I love that about our series. And it's an honor to race with guys who have been racing for 30 plus years, and they can teach me a lot, and I can learn.
Absolutely. And last year, I mean, we saw it. You know, there's some tracks to know that you went to, and you said you weren't sure how you were going to do, and you actually did pretty good. So how was the experience going? Because unlike a lot of people, you guys travel all over Ontario to race. So I've got to know what was some of the highlights for you last year.
So from traveling, it was a little different. Like we would go to a different track every year, couple things in junior lates, but traveling was way different, and it was kind of cool to be able to go from one track to the other the next week. It was definitely a learning curve because you would be good at the one track that one week and then suck the next race and then be good the next. So it's an up and down roller coaster.
Yeah, it definitely was, and you had some great moments last year. So what was one of the ones that stuck out for you?
The greatest moment for me last year was probably the top five at the end of Varney. I was a little bit upset that I didn't get maybe fourth or third there, but I was still beyond excited as I've ever been in a race car.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is it's not, you didn't go to the mini stocks or the bone stocks to go straight to an OSS car. You went from junior late straight up to OSS. So how was that adjustment period for you? I would assume they drive very different.
It was a little bit different from the start, and then I had quite a bit of practice before I ever went on a racetrack with other cars. So it was sort of, you knew what to expect, but once you get on track with other cars, it's a whole different story of how fast the other cars are. Like you're constantly have to hit your mark, and you cannot slip up once, or else you're going to lose a couple positions.
And for the field last year, obviously, like we said, it was a very tough field, but depending on the track, did you find it easier or more difficult to make those passes? I'm very curious as to comparative to, say, like Delaware and Varney, completely different types of tracks.
Yeah, it was challenging for me to make passes at certain tracks just because the car wasn't handling that well, or I didn't know the track like I do the others. Sobel, I was stuck on the outside. I don't know why. I could only pass cars on the high side, and then Vardy the same thing. I could only pass cars on the high side, but on a track like Delaware, it was on the inside, or Sunset the inside. So it's different.
Yeah, and the thing is that 2024, the field is looking exactly basically what it was last year. I mean, we might have a couple additions, some subtractions, and some possible big names from the past coming back. And obviously, you've had some great people that have helped you out. Last year, you had the car help, like you had people that have been big in this series, mainly named the Gallants, helping you out. Well, that's got to be a crazy experience to have a guy like Kevin Gallant helping you and Kira Gallant helping you out at the racetrack.
Yeah, they were amazing. We had a lot of guys help us last year, and it was really unfortunate that we didn't have people to help us for a couple of races. But the
Yeah.
other race that we did have help, we were up in front competing, and I'm so appreciative of Kevin and Kira for what they've done for us. Um, from buying the car from them and then helping us along the way and spotting and crew chiefing for me, it's just been such a big help.
And how is the iRacing how does that help with you as well? Because I know you are a big iRacer. You do it on my geez, you're probably on there every day for hours and hours and hours, I'd assume.
Yeah, it's definitely every day. Sometimes it's a couple hours, sometimes it's just 30 minutes. It's just whatever practice I can get in, it definitely helps. I find it translates well to real life. Some others don't think it does, but for me, it helps.
Well, and you were back once again at Motorama 2024. I want to get to your opinion on the crowd that weekend. You had your car right up again in the front of the racing zone. What was that experience like for you? Coming back for a second time, but this time after running a season in OSS.
It was actually a lot of fun. I had a great time at Motor M. There was a lot of great people. I had a lot of fun talking to some great fans who are really interested in the sport, and I always love teaching kids about the cars too.
Yeah, and you definitely did that. I mean, that's one of the things that is great is that you are still so very young, racing in our series of guys that are a lot older than you. But what is the goal for 2024? Obviously, we know winning is always up there, but starting right from week one at Delaware, what is it that you want to do this year?
I would like to have maybe consistent top fives or top threes. I would love to get a win maybe once or twice this year. That's always the top goal for a racer. But just again, consistent lead lap finishes, top fives maybe, just clean races. Like I'd like to have another year like last year, just better finishing position.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, I can't really. I think the only times I saw you spin were during practice, which is the best time because you're not during the race, right? You're not losing positions. And this is the thing is that last year you did have that missed start. And if you didn't have that, you would have been in the top 10 in points for sure. Uh, it's got to be really cool for you as well because you get to do this experience, and that's why I love doing my podcast stuff is because I get to be with my dad, and you're with your dad throughout the entirety of the racing season. And I don't know, is there anybody more passionate than your dad about making sure that you do good on the racetrack?
Maybe my mom. My they're both their job for or their main goal for me is just to keep me safe on the racetrack, and it's sort of that they just want me to have fun, no matter what the finish is. They just want me to have fun.
And that's awesome to see. And like we said, you didn't end up on your lid last year, so that's always a good start. I mean, you've done that a couple of times in junior late. So heading to this year, which is the track that you're ready to head back to because you know you're going to have something for everybody else?
I'm definitely ready for Varney and Sunset. I can't wait to go back to Varney.
I mean, we talked about this last year. We talked about this all the time, actually. And that's what I really love about what I see with the iRacing is that you have very good line consistency. And one of the things that you did last year was outrun and outpace guys on the high side at Varney, which, as we've talked with veteran Tim Tolton, who has got, geez, over 1 million laps, it seems like that's a really hard thing to do. But for whatever reason, man, you seemed like you got Varney right away. Wasn't an issue for you. Um, what's the end goal here for this year, though? We know we talked about you want to do win consistency, points position, maybe hopefully a top 5 this year.
A top five, maybe top three. I don't think it's going to be a championship year just quite yet. But you know what? You can never say never. So
Yeah.
we're going to keep our hopes up, and you never know.
And
Maybe
one of the yeah, exactly. And one of those things that you do really well is you started now doing your own paint schemes, your own designs, and you were the one that designed your scheme for this year. Talk about that experience and seeing it come to life.
it was amazing. I've designed pretty much all the other cars too. It's just this one I actually fully took time in and designed it on a computer. It started out as a process of many different cars coming in. I'm like, not quite right. And then this one my dad picked out, and I'm like, not a huge fan of it. And then I brightened up the colors a little bit, and I saw it, and I'm like, this is the one. And we took it to the wrap shop, and the way they made the vinyl and cut it out was just amazing to watch in the process. And once the car was done, it just looked stunning.
And it's going to be a beautiful car in the light, but also in the dark. You kind of got it set so that it's going to sparkle all season long. And yes, I use the word sparkle because it's going to. Ollie, obviously, you've got a lot of people that help you out throughout the season. You've got some new people coming to help you out this year as well, former competitors in the OSS series, and you've got a lot of partners on that race car of yours. But this is just like what we do on the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. I want to give you the opportunity to shout out your partners for this year. Shout out your whoever helps you out because they're the ones that help you get to the racetrack each and every week.
I'm gonna give a shout out to my crew chief Jeremy Coulter. He's coming over later today, about an hour, to scale the car. And of course, all my sponsors, Fusion Corp Developments, Worth Home Hardware Group companies, Alter Ego, XL Care, Northern Force, Hydrovac, MBRP, Northern Performance, Parmar Real Estate, CarStar, Brampton, Budo, Martial Arts, SteelCon. There's so many great people that have helped me out over the years, and I really appreciate it.
It's going to be one heck of a season for Ollie Ferguson once again. How can people follow along with you all season long? Because you've got some social media that people can definitely watch, and of course, you're also out there on iRacing as well.
You can find us at Facebook on OSR, Ollie Strong Racing, Instagram, Ollie Strong Racing, TikTok at Ollie Strong Racing, and I believe that's it.
It's going to be a season like no other. I'm so excited. I love OSS. We're going to have a good year. You're going to have a good year. Ollie Ferguson, thank you so much for joining me.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
What can I say? Kid did fantastic. Very impressed with how Ollie handles his interviews. Definite improvement since Motorama of last year, but we could make sure you guys follow along. OSR, Ollie Strong Racing on social media, and check out the Ontario Sportsman Series this season as well. We already mentioned the Great Lakes Legends, and then of course Sunset Speedway. Make sure you guys follow along and see what they've got going on for the 2024 season, because there's a lot of racing to be had. And like I said, we are under a month until racing officially starts on May 4th. We will have some cars that are going to be out on the racetrack this weekend. So definitely make sure you go out and check and see social media, because there's going to be lots of people posting that they're out testing. Another thing, make sure you guys check out Two Speed Motorsports. They've got their grand opening of their shop, the open house this Saturday as well, from 8 to 3. Make sure you check out Two Speed Motorsports, see what they've got going on, because there's a lot of good stuff happening out there for sure. But before we wrap up this episode, we have to go and travel to Varney Speedway now. We're going to travel there and talk with a driver who came home with 2 championships last year. He is going to take us home. So once his interview ends, the show will also wrap up. But here's Mason Culver, and Mason from the Culver family of racers. Trevor and Justin also racing out there, and Mason's going to go out and try to get himself another championship in 2024. However, he's going to be in a different division. Of course, he's coming from mini trucks. So let's hear from what Mason Culver and I chatted about, and have Mason Culver take us to the end of ONTrack Weekly for this week. A great racer, and I'm excited to see what he does this year in his division. Here is Mason Culver out of Varney / Full Throttle Motor Speedway. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to G-Force TV. We really appreciate it. Here's Mason Culver on his season. Well, we had to have somebody that's going to be on the show today that runs Varney. And the guy that we decided to talk to today he's actually repping another fellow competitor today. He's repping Del Freiberger, but Mason Culver, the double champion from last year in the mini truck division at Varney and at Grand Bend, is here. Mason, how are you doing today, my friend?
Good. How are you doing, Cam?
Oh, I'm great, man. Excellent. And you've got some good stuff happening this year. You just recently announced plans. What's happening for Mason Culver Motorsports in 2024?
Yeah, we're super excited. We were able to get a full-size truck that we picked up a couple weeks ago. Got a race car for Easter, so not missing the Easter Bunny as much anymore. But we're going to be racing full-time in the Thunder Truck class at Full Throttle.
Full Throttle, Thunder Trucks. First off, how are you going to be able to beat the Vales?
It's going to be a learning curve and learning experience, but I think I've learned a lot and got good help with Trevor and my dad, and I think we can apply a lot of the knowledge I learned crewing for Trevor and on my own mini truck, and we're going to be able to make this truck go fast, and then I just got to figure out how to drive it.
Well, let's talk about the mini trucks last year. Great battle last year for the championship between yourself, Keisha Zimic, the Gortzes. There's literally a bajillion racers in the mini truck division. Sel Freiberger, part of the mini trucks last year as well. Um, uh, what was the battle like? Because you didn't chase one championship. You were crazy enough to chase two, and you were one of the only drivers, you and I think Carson Nagy last year won, and Corey McAllister all won 2 championships in the same year. That's pretty elite company to be with.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a little different competition level, but it's means a lot to be up there with those guys. I like Carson a lot. I enjoy playing iRacing with him. I don't like when he beats Trevor as much, but try to limit that. And then Corey's a great guy too. Met him at the track. He's good buddies with Ben Freiberger, and that's how I got introduced to him.
Well, and you definitely got the opportunity here. Full size truck, obviously. Let's take a little bit learning a little bit of the mini trucks. Comparative difference. What are we dealing with the full size truck compared to a mini truck? What are we talking about in terms of chassis and in terms of what you're actually wheeling?
So the mini truck obviously is a lot smaller, a lot less horsepower, a little different in the suspension, but the full size truck is basically just old Chevy truck from the early 2000s or 90s, I believe. And then they put a roll cage in it, and it's got a 602 Chevy crate motor in it. So same motor as the super stocks, same tires, same suspension, leaf springs in the back. It weighs a lot more also. So it's going to be a fun experience.
Well, that's the thing. You've got to go out there and you've got to be. I believe Jason Vale is like 2 years undefeated in the Thunder Truck division out at Varney Speedway, which is unheard of. It's insane. But you're gonna do it this year, right?
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for the Vales. They've already reached out to me since I've got this truck, and it's not easy to go undefeated one season, let alone two. So I'm looking forward to racing with them, and I'm planning on changing that this year.
Well, I'm curious how we're gonna see this number 20. We're still gonna stick with. So we're gonna stick
Yeah.
with number 20. You got any design mind in for this truck this year? Because you're getting a little late in terms of getting the car, the truck ready. It came down right down to the wire, though. You had to sell the mini truck, and now that you've got the opportunity, you're picked up. Believe this is Lonnie Thompson's old truck, and he's already said how much of a good piece it was. So, what's the plan? Are you going through a bit of a design change this year, or are you going to stick to just a basic look and give it a bit a bit of a go? Because we know Varney, it tends to get a little rough and tumble.
Um, we're trying to do about 5 months worth of work in 3 or 4 weeks. So it was a busy day today at the shop, and then every night after work, got the truck ripped down to almost nothing right now. So we're gonna have to put it together, and of course, we're gonna paint it and put our colors on it. I'm not the biggest fan of white.
That's true. It's a good
Uh,
fit. I mean, we like to see and I like consistency. I mean, that's one of the things that I like to see on race trucks or race cars, whatever it is that if you started with number 20, that you continue with your same consistent number, and because it gets you your recognition, and you're heading back to Varney, a place that you know so very, very well. What was the decision? Because I'm sure it was not easy. We know we were talking about a couple of different options for you last year, cars available, but it's all about, I would assume, funding. And but how many different things were you looking at? Because I would imagine there was a lot of different divisions that you could have gone to.
Yeah, I know it was a hard choice. There's lots of cool things out here to race, and I have buddies trying to convince me to go to their classes and stuff like that, like Austin and the Legends. those are cool. I always think they're cool. They're like, oh, come on, it'll be so fun. So I'm not arguing with you. I think racing anything will be fun. We can go race bicycles around the neighborhood and I'll have a good time. But ultimately, we talked to Paul, the owner up at Varney, and he wanted us to come out to the back to the track and put on a show. And he gave us a good deal on the truck, so we ended up going with that.
And that's what it comes down to, right? Funding is everything, but also comfortability. And you know Varney already. That's obviously a big thing. If you're all of a sudden going to the Legends, Great Lake Legends Series, it's a bunch of different tracks, different types of vehicles. So it's a lot of change at one time. This is kind of one step up to the next. Obviously, I would love to see combination efforts. I know that they don't run the same as the Renegade trucks out at Peterborough, but I would love to see some sort of combo event with the Thunder versus the Renegades. That would be wicked. More trucks, the better. Just saying.
Yeah.
We've already talked about it. We want to see a van or a van and truck division for bone stocks at some track. That's what we're talking about. But what's the goal for this year? Obviously, you're switching classes in a new truck. You've got a lot of stuff to do in a short amount of time. You got one guy who's definitely gone out there and been a force in the Thunder Truck division for so many years. What is it that you wanted to accomplish this year?
So the goal is to learn a lot, hopefully get up to speed relatively quick. I know I have a good truck, and like I said, with some of the knowledge I've picked up from Trevor and other mentors, I'm going to apply it to this truck, and we're going to be racing for future wins and hopefully be up there in the championship as well.
Well, Varney has a lot of stuff to offer, and that's one of the things that we're really privileged to know about Full Throttle and Paul and Tim, the entire team there. Uh, their commitment to trying to put on a good show is continuously impressive. They're doing stuff on a weekly basis and there's still, as they keep teasing, there's still more news that's going to come out that's going to benefit everybody that's out there. What can you say about the fan base out at Varney, man? They love their racing.
It's such a great place to race. I wouldn't rather race anywhere else. You go there and it's just a electric atmosphere. Everyone loves being there. Everyone puts 100% into it. And yeah, like the fans that show up week to week is unreal. A lot of people don't really know that, but if they come out to the track and it's kind of diamond in the rough.
Well, and that's the hope, right? You want to have people that know who you are and cheer you on because of who you are. And we're obviously really excited. Who is going to help you out this year on the number 20 truck? You've got some partnerships, I'm sure, that are coming back this year. Maybe some new partnerships. This is the opportunity for you, Mason, to shout out not just the partnerships, but the people that are going to help you get to the racetrack each and every week. I'm going to work on the car on that. I almost did it. Work on the truck this year.
That's what my dad keeps saying too. It's not a race car, it's a truck. It's a
Yes,
truck.
that's right.
Same thing. But anyways, I gotta say thanks to my dad. He's always out there. He helps me the most. He does a lot of the fabricating stuff for me. I'm pretty good at most of the other stuff in the setup, but he like today we were welding on some new stuff. So he always helps with that. My mom for all her support, my brothers. I got a few friends who will see if they can step up to the plate and help this year. I got to thank Trevor Culver once again. He's my mentor. Without him, I don't know what I'd be doing or how quick I'd be, but big thanks to Trevor, his mom, the crew over there, Justin, my other cousin racing in the bone stock division. I got to thank my sponsors and partners, Don Culver Automotive, Grace Transport, Synergy Composites, Your Pool Guy, Platinum Construction, AJ DeBruin, Snap On Tools, and we got a couple more we're working on as well.
Well, this is going to be a great season. I can already feel it. May 4th comes quick. So I can imagine you guys are pretty exhausted with all the work that you guys are putting in. But who's somebody that we got to watch out at Varney this year? Obviously, you're not just in your division. We're talking in general. Who is somebody that you think people need to be watching because they're going to put on a heck of a season?
the Vales are good in the trucks, and I haven't met many of the other competitors yet. A few of them I've talked to on Facebook, so we're all going to put on a great show in that class. But my old class in the mini trucks, you got to watch out for Hayden Sim and his brother Carson. They've been doing it a long time. They're always super fast and consistent. So you got to watch out for them. And then you got Del Freiberger. Of course, he's my buddy, and Ben. He's moving up from the junior late models. Think you should look for him to be super competitive and get up to speed pretty quick. You got the Gertzes, Quinn and Caleb. They do an awesome job. They pick up race wins like no tomorrow. So I think those are a couple names to watch in the mini trucks.
Well, it's going to be a season like no other. 2024 season is coming really, really quickly. Mason Culver, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us on ONTrack Weekly.
Thanks for having me, Cam.
Just want to thank all of our guests for tonight, for being here on ONTrack Weekly. I want to thank you, the fans, for tuning in once again tonight. We hope to have a couple more interviews over the next couple of weeks leading right up to racing season. Then we'll go cover our tracks as much as we can week to week, see what's up in the news, see how people did. And definitely want to say thank you for everybody that tuned in. If you can, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to GeForce TV for more content each and every week. Hopefully we'll get those interviews up on the channel as well. So you don't have to watch the entire episode back to be able to see everything. But we really appreciate it, and definitely want to say thank you to Austin Arnell, Ollie Ferguson, Ben McPherson, and Mason Culver here for episode, I believe it's 84 of ONTrack Weekly. We'll catch you all next week here on GeForce TV.